as you guys all know that we have discussed the three groups on the basis of the sexual reproduction, which was the fungi groups. Alright, the last group was remaining, that is the duetromycota. Duetromycota is basically, you can say, a group which is commonly called the fungi imperfect. Why it is called the fungi imperfect, that we have discussed in the previous video, because there is no sexual reproduction take place. Which means, as you guys all know, in the previous video we have discussed about the three major groups, in that the sexual reproduction was occurred, like the formation of the spore and all, and then again the mycelium, which was the body of fungi, was developed from that spore. So which means that no sexual spore. The groups we have discussed, in that groups the fungi was reproduced through the asexually and sexually both. But in that is you can say the group which is like in all four of them, this is one group that basically not reproduced through the sexual reproduction. All right, so how you will your question will be raised is how they will reproduce. So they basically reproduce through the asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction, which means through the sporangiophore. As you guys all on the previous video we have discussed about the sporangiophore, which was sporangia, and then from that the spore were there, and then the new mycelium was developed. And we have also discussed about the conidiophore. All right, that was all also similar like this, but there was a transverse section into that conidiophore. All right, as well as we have discussed about the fragmentation in the previous video very detailed. That was a process in which the mycelium different parts was, you can say, divided, and that from different parts the mycelium again was developed. So that was the three process that we have discussed in the previous video too. I've just given you the small overview. So they will reproduce through the asexual. All right, and if there is no sexual reproduction is there, so which means there will be the no secondary mycelium. Secondary mycelium is basically a you can say in secondary mycelium the fruiting body basically develop, and then from fruiting body you can say the sporangia, and these all basically develop from where the sexual spore basically occur. Which means there is no secondary mycelium, which means here will be the no fruiting body will be developed into that. All right, and basically if you talk about the sexually reproduction, so basically you can say they basically do the reproduction which is sexual, that take place by the parasexuality. Parasexuality, which means they basically can reproduce through the reproduce through the sexual reproduction by the parasexuality. Parasexuality is what? Parasexuality is the genetic recombination. All right, so that is, if you take the example of that, we are having the penicillium, which is you can say, as well as we are having the aspergillium. These are the example of that fungi which are in this duetromycota. And as you guys all know, if you talk about the aspergillus, that is used as a fermentation process too. And we are having the soya bean into that, from where the soya paste, soya sauce basically produced. And soya bean is what? Soya bean is a leguminous plant. All right, or you can see that from the where the oil seed basically produced. So this was the last group that we have discussed. In the next video we are going to discuss about the importance of the, you can say, the fungi, that we are going to discuss in the next video. That will be the last topic of this chapter.